Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Loreen HD for a new video. I have just gotten back from a sunny vacation, which was literally everything I needed. It was family, food, sun, beach, relax, everything except for one tiny little detail which decided to appear on my back. And actually when I say on my back, it's more on my ass. About 3 to 4 days after I had been tanning my back a lot. And as you can imagine, that little detail is a herpes blister that appeared on my left butt cheek. About basically where like the panty line cuts your butt cheek in half, like that's exactly where it decided to appear, probably where I had my bathing suit. And it was super uncomfortable. It was super uncomfortable because it was itchy and sensitive, but also because I couldn't like bathe and go in the sea because I was scared that it would turn into like a more serious infection. And it was also super uncomfortable because the only way that I wouldn't feel uncomfortable was to let it out in the open, like let it breathe, let it just not having anything rubbing against it, which is probably, you know, not ideal when you're almost naked on the beach. Like that's not something that you're necessarily envisioning to have when you're half naked on the beach. So there's two things that I want to tell you about this experience. The first thing is how I managed physically, like what I did to help my body get over it. And the second one is how I managed emotionally, how I dealt with it emotionally. So from a logistics standpoint, I stayed out of the sun, or at least I let my butt area stay out of the sun as much as possible. So I was like turning as the sun was turning to make sure that I was either like tanning my torso or tanning just my back up until my butt, or I was just tanning my legs, but I was like making sure that my butt area was not in the sun because, as I said, my blister was out in the open. So if you put more sun on something that is caused by the sun, I don't know if you know it, but some herpes blisters can be triggered by the sun. That was not going to be ideal. So I made sure that that area was always in the shade. Also, I dumped my bathing suit because that fabric is really not ideal for our genital area. And what I did was I was wearing a panty, a black panty, which kind of resembled, like it could be a bathing suit. I was wearing it like a bathing suit on the beach whenever I was not bathing. I was wearing that, which is much, much healthier for your genital area. I just didn't want to provoke anything else. So I was wearing that. And then the last day when I wanted to go for a swim, I just put my bathing suit right before going in the water. And then when I was done, I just took out my bathing suit, took a shower, and then put back the cotton panties. So I disinfected it about 5 to 6 times a day because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't picking up any more like germs or bacteria. Most of all, if it's out in the open, so it's an open skin, you want to make sure it's always as clean as possible. And whenever the itch was too much, I was rubbing raw coconut oil on it, which is a natural antibacterial. So I was just putting some raw coconut on the blister and leaving it to dry, again, still in the shade. And I think I repeated that again, like probably 4 to 5 times. But as much as possible in the first few days, I would just like let it breathe and let it evolve on its own. Whenever I had to wear clothes, because I didn't spend the whole vacation on the beach with my butt out, I disinfected it, and then I put those sterile compresses. Basically, like you disinfect it and you put something that is sterile, you put some tape around it, and I made like this little area that was covered with sanitized compress. And then I would wear my pants. I would try to not wear anything that was too tight around my butt because otherwise it's just like uncomfortable. So I would wear dresses or skirts and things like that, but that area would not be in contact with my clothes. And then towards the end, when it was drying and scabbing, I would avoid wearing tongs. I would more favor like covering panties, so panties that were a little wider on the butt cheek, just to make sure that my blister was again in contact with cotton and not with denim, which you know, I wear quite a lot. Okay, so now how did I deal with it emotionally, which was, I think, to me, the most interesting part. So, you know, I'm here on YouTube and I'm flying the I have genital herpes and there's nothing shameful about it flag like really high and being comfortable talking about it. But unlike people who have oral herpes, like I never had to be comfortable with people seeing my blisters or seeing herpes sores on my body. So I realized that up until that part, really, what I did was to own my story and learn how to talk about it and make myself vulnerable, but willingly, like whenever I would decide to talk about my skin condition, rather than whenever my body would decide to like make it an open topic of conversation, whenever it would decide to have a blister, because, you know, obviously I don't go around and like flash people with my vagina. So it was very much a decision, a choice for me to talk about it, rather than me learning to process people's, you know, looks and faces and all of that. And like walking the talk was really a humbling experience. So initially I would kind of like strategically turn and make sure that I was never giving my back to like my family or just people, just like be moving and make sure that my butt was not really in sight. But then I was like, if people can have it on their face and they can't hide it, like, why should I feel like I have to hide it just because it's on my ass? If I had it somewhere else and I couldn't hide it, I wouldn't. So why shouldn't I approach this as something that I can't hide and, you know, just go with it? And then this really funny thing happened. I was in line waiting for like a juice at the bar, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, did you get burned? And he was kind of like looking in the direction of my ass, and I was like, no, it's a herpes blister. And he was like, oh, he kind of did this face like this, and he was like, oh, I didn't know you could get it on your ass. I was like, yeah. And then he said, well, I get it sometimes on my lips, like at least you get it on your ass. And I was like, well, you know, when you go somewhere for a vacation where the whole point of it is tanning, it's not such a, you know, oh, at least you get it there. And he was like, yeah, but how often do you go on vacation tanning? And then I was kind of like, I couldn't find anything else to answer, and I was a bit annoyed that I was like letting him have it. And then I thought to myself, are you crazy? Like, are you literally stupid? Because you are here trying to tell everyone that it's not a big deal, like it's not that inconvenient or that much more inconvenient than having it like on your lips. And then here comes someone who completely agrees with you, and you're trying to like not let him have it, and you're trying to prove that it's like somehow more uncomfortable, like you have it worse than him who has it on his lips. Like, why? Stupid. Literally, just stupid. So all in all, my friends, if this happens to you, that you go somewhere sunny and on vacation and a herpes blister decides to come join the vacation with you, I would highly encourage you not to let it ruin your vacation, and maybe to treat it as something that was on a part of your body that you couldn't hide so much, like your face. Because if there's one thing that culture teaches us, just looking at how stigmatized genital sores are versus cold sores, is that when it's out in the open, there's like no room for shame. And sure, like there's more attractive things that your skin could showcase, but also, so what? You know, it's just another little way that our bodies remind us that they're not here to look as perfect as standards want them to look. And it's fine. It's just skin. It's just a blister. It's temporary. Like, you probably had other things on your body or maybe on your face that didn't look like normal, and you went with it fine. Why should it be different? You know, I think according to how you're going to frame it in your mind it's also going to dictate how other people are going to react to it, which is my whole spiel around how to tell someone that you have herpes. It starts with how you see it, and then that reflects on how people look at it. Yeah, so basically, in a nutshell, 3 words: get over it. If you think this video was helpful, please leave a thumbs up, and if you have any other tips or comments on how to manage emotionally and physically a herpes blister that crashes your vacation, please leave them in the comments below. If you want to reach out to me personally, you can DM me on Instagram at LoreenHD. That's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.